You have an opportunity to ask questions. I'll walk you through what I believe, why I'm running for office, and why I'm qualified for office. Start off with what I believe. I think the federal government is basically responsible for three core principles. One, ensuring the security of its citizens. Two, ensuring and protecting the Constitution. And three, ensuring free markets. And the result of upholding these three principles is a free and open society in which, for the most part, people can use their talents and their creativity to create wealth and opportunity for themselves, which creates wealth and opportunity for the rest of the society. For 200 years, we've practiced this principle, and it's enabled us to have a standard of living that's almost unimaginable to the rest of the world. And for 200 years, our ancestors and many of us have sacrificed, often with their lives, to ensure that we and our children have an opportunity to live by these natural laws. So that's my guiding principle. That's what I believe in how I would govern. Background, grew up here in Chester County, graduated from Unionville High School, married my high school sweetheart. I have a little baby girl that's about 2.5 and a 5-month-old son. I graduated from Penn State with a mechanical engineering degree. After school, about the age of 23, I started a company called Mitos, which was originally started out in Fraser, PA. And is there anybody here that's gotten a flu shot this year? We made the systems that enabled the Mercks and the Wyeths and the Centocors to manufacture vaccines and biological drugs. Built that business up, sold it a couple years ago, and have worked over the last couple years with some other entrepreneurs to found a firm called Dream Adventures. And what we do at Dream Adventures is we take, literally, entrepreneurs that have an idea on a napkin, and we help them turn that into a business. We give them all the resources they need to help accelerate the progress of the business. And over the last 2 years, we've helped almost 100 entrepreneurs get their businesses off the ground and launched 20 companies. It's been a very successful model. It's been picked up in the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, NPR nationally. From that, the last year I've been an Eisenhower Fellow, and I've used that time over the last year to travel to about a dozen countries and to study what's working, what's not, from an economic development standpoint, mostly from a government policy side. And unfortunately, what you realize when you get out there is you see the rest of the world has figured out what we have done so well over 200 years, and they're running in that direction. They're becoming what America was. They're decentralizing and becoming entrepreneurial. They're reducing barriers. They're moving power closer, power and decision-making closer to the people. What are we doing? Well, let's look at where we're at. If you have children, grandchildren, nieces, or nephews, if you could, raise your hands. Okay, we have a lot. Okay. How about keep them up? Keep them up if they're under the age of 8. Anybody under the age of 8? Sir, your children or grandchildren? Name, grandchildren. How about grandchildren? Okay. How about name and age?
Andrew, Aaron, and Adam. They're 7, 5, and 3, and Evan and Samantha, 6 and 3.
Okay. We'll use Andrew, who's 7. Okay. When Andrew would have been born, Andrew would have inherited about $12,000 in debt. That would have been his portion of the federal debt. Before Andrew is 13, before he's a teenager, before he's ever had a chance to work at Rita's Water Ice and see the government take money out of his hands, he will have $75,000 in debt. $75,000 in debt. And that's just his portion of the federal deficit. That doesn't include all the future unfunded liabilities. $75,000. That's immoral. Every person in this room has been blessed. We've been blessed to either be born in or find our way to the great hope of civilization. Many of us have sacrificed. Our ancestors are sacrificed. And how is Washington paying for those sacrifices? They're borrowing our children's money so that they don't have to make the tough decisions today. In a process that will destroy their standard of living. They're coupling this mistake with a centralization of power in Washington. It benefits the business and political elite at the expense of ordinary people like us. At the same time, we're seeing a process in which decisions are being made not based on what people believe or political ideology. It's based on what will get people reelected. Based on what will give power to the political bureaucracies. And this has led to extravagant spending. It's led to massive debts, and it's led to you and I and our communities having less influence. And how are we paying for this? We are borrowing our children's money from the Chinese to empower Washington bureaucrats to decide who wins and loses in everything from automotive to insurance to banking, so that investment bankers can get million-dollar bonuses, and then those same companies that were bailed out then give money back to the politicians through political contributions. Let me go through that again because it's unbelievable. We are borrowing our children's money from the Chinese to empower Washington bureaucrats to decide the winners and losers in free markets so that same money comes back to those politicians. This doesn't work. As Republicans, we often talk about, big government leads to high taxes and debt. And that's true, don't be wrong, that absolutely is true. But the real fear here is, as we are centralizing power in Washington, we aren't making decisions anymore based on merit, they're being made on politics. Merit is out the window, politics is ruling the day. That has long-term consequences. Because as we do that, we're starting to have a process where we have massive lobbying going on in Washington. Just to give you an idea, $3.3 billion was spent on lobbying in 2009 alone. $3.3 billion. Now, across town, when Victory Brewing, when they were passing cap and trade, I assure you, Victory Brewing didn't have anybody in the room making sure they got their special permits. But Anheuser-Busch did. Across the street at D&B, when TARP was getting written, D&B didn't have any advantage. But I'll assure you, Citibank, Bank of America, that had a lobbyist, I assure you they did, because they got $90 billion of our taxpayer money, and we guaranteed $500 billion of their debt. Now we're all surprised that the insurance company is coming in behind Obamacare. They love it. You bet they love it. They just added 30 million new customers at the expense of our children. Absolutely they love it. Big business is now viewing Washington as part of a business strategy. And I don't blame them. I mean, 30% plus of the economy is going through Washington. I absolutely don't blame them. And please do not mistake me. I'm not only pro-business. I think what's critical is we need to empower the job creators in society. Businesses create jobs. They're the lifeblood of our economy. And small business especially. Small businesses create about 75% of all new jobs. And actually are the most innovative. And if you look at almost every seismic shift, every major invention that has happened in our society over the last couple hundred years, it has come from small business, small entrepreneurial businesses. And as you see big government increase in scope and reach into markets, it is big business that benefits at the expense of small. And this has a trickle-down effect. As big business benefits at the expense of small, it consolidates the power in the few. Now there is hope. First of all, we know what works. What's great here is we absolutely know what works as a society, and we are in a democracy, and we can have change. We need a new direction, and that is why I'm running for Congress. We need people that have been in the trenches, people that have created jobs and balanced the budget. That's why I'm running. I have those skills. I'm running for Congress, and we need those skills down there, and I have them. I think as a party, we need people that can articulate why our values, why the Republican values matter not just to Republicans, but to all Americans. Because that's the only way to move the country in the right direction. And since I have those skills, I'm running for Congress. Now, please don't misread me. I know Jim. We all know Jim. Jim has been a good guy. He's been a good public legislator for 20 years. But times are changing very quickly. And people are looking for those outside the system with a new perspective to make change. That's why in USA Today on Tuesday it showed the Tea Party is outpolling both the Republican Party and Democratic Party. People are looking for outsiders. And I assure you, in November of 2010, the Democrats know this, and they will find somebody to fill that role that is an outsider. This really is not about Steve Welch, not about Jim Gerlach, or any other candidates you're going to hear tonight. This is about a need for a fresh perspective that can build the party. We must win in 2010. We absolutely must. But we also need to change the trajectory of the country, or we must change the trajectory of the party to move the path of the country. We have to do this for your children, the sake of your children and mine, and that is why I'm running for Congress.